everybody. Merry Christmas and welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And we are here to do a fun little ranking today, something a little different than what we have done before, but it's going to be fun. We are going through Countdown to Christmas and we are picking our favorite from each year that's been in existence. So since 2009 all the way up to 2022. And it's going to be fun. And I am film critic Rachel Wagner and Terry's here.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's good.
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
All right. Well, let's just dive in. This was interesting. There were some years where it was the clear winner, and others where it was kind of hard to decide.
Same.
Well,
Same.
let's start with 2009, and this one wasn't difficult because there's only 4 movies to pick from, so so it wasn't much. But what did you go for in 2009?
I went with Debbie Macomber's Mrs. Miracle.
Yeah, same. One of my favorites. It would be on my top 10 list.
Totally. I love this series. I was so glad that Hallmark brought it back a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's no more books in the series currently, but I would just like them to write a new one with the character, and because I did love that movie about 2 years ago that they did, and I just think the premise is great. It's basically kind of what old school Christmas movies were about, helping families and tough times and getting together for the holidays, and I think that's a good message, and they're uplifting too.
Yeah, and Mrs. Miracle has a bit of personality. It's just kind of like Mary Poppins in that way, because Mary Poppins, I mean, especially in the books, but even in the movie, wasn't afraid to be a little bit of a smart aleck, just be able to talk back to Mr. Banks, things kind of to tell the children things. And she's like that. She's kind of forward with her opinions. She's got opinions and she'll say it, and it just makes it really, really fun and charming. And I think James Van Der Beek is good here. He's a natural fit, as a dad, and I think Aaron Carplock is good.
Yep.
And then the whole thing helping out with the play and
dealing with her own issues too.
Yeah, and trying to forgive her sister.
Yeah. Oh, what is with all these holiday movies where the sister steals the other one's man? You notice that?
It's true. But it is given time with this one.
It's true, but it is a trope. Like when you read a lot of it doesn't even have to be romance books. You read a lot of books and there's always my sister stole my man.
Yeah. But yeah, I really I love this one.
Doris Roberts is
favorite Hallmark movies.
I think Doris Roberts is perfect for Mrs. Miracle and how she delivers everything.
It gets that personality, that spunk.
Yeah.
So, well, we had the same 2009. What about 2010?
Okay, 2010 is a completely forgotten movie that I've got, and it's An Old-Fashioned Christmas.
Oh, okay. We covered that for classics Christmas, look backs that me and Thaddeus did. So I watched it fairly recently.
Yeah, so it's a period piece. Had to go up there. I love my period pieces. Come on, Hallmark, get back in the game in that. But it's also a sequel to An Old-Fashioned Thanksgiving, which I absolutely loved. I thought was great. And while this isn't the most perfect of sequels, I just find it very charming. I mean, they're in Ireland, so it's a location movie. And we've got Jacqueline Bisset as the grandmother with a recast. Her name is Catherine. No, the character's name is not Catherine. The actress is Catherine Steedman. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they got rid of She-Hulk.
Well, no, Tatiana Maslany, I guess because she didn't come back for that. Yeah, she was kind of big at this time, I think. I think she was already doing Orphan Black when this movie came out. But the character's name is Tilly. So Grandma and Tilly are exploring Ireland. They're going to visit some distant relatives, and she's trying to also get acquainted with an ex-lover from back when she was young who can help, with publishing her granddaughter's writings. And of course, there's this family down on their luck who was like, hey, this lady's rich. This granddaughter's going to inherit all that money, not knowing that she's got a whole bunch of siblings at home to split that money with. But, so they're trying, a triangle ensues, the worst triangle ever, because this guy is just rotten to the core. And you're like, your fiance is perfect that you got at home. Why are you messing around with this guy? But then the fiance comes back and it's all set during Christmas. And I don't know. It's just, there's a charm to it. And I love the period aspect of it. So that was
I liked it. I liked it fine. It was fun.
Yeah,
we enjoyed
it's
covering
fine.
covering it together. I it was more Hallmarky than the first one, as I recall. And I think that the first one, for me, it suffered a little bit about the fact that it just wasn't as good as Little Women. And there were so many things in it that made me compare it. I was like, I just wish that they had made Little Women instead of making this. But because it wasn't as good a story to me. But it was still cool. It was still cool to see them, make that kind of a film.
Yeah, totally.
For Hallmark. I have to admit, this year has a lot of movies that I haven't seen. So when we get back doing that classic Christmas throwback series, there's a bunch that we'll have to check off the list.
Yeah. And some are hard to find as well.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah. There is the Call Me Mrs. Miracle, which I'd already picked Mrs. Miracle, but I like that one. And I remember I've seen The Gift of the Magi and thinking that was okay. But the one that I picked is Farewell, Mr. Kringle. I really like this one. We did this for the classic throwback one, and it's kind of your classic, your journalist going in to look at this Kris Kringle in this town of Mistletoe. She's like the skeptic, and she comes in, and it's really cute. It's really cute.
Yeah.
And I like Christine Taylor in this. And you don't get that much Santa magic, so something like this is fun. And her kind of getting over her learning to believe in things again and have faith and all of that. So that's the one that I picked for 2010. And if you all want to participate in our rankings, if you're listening to these and you think these women are crazy, if you are listening to our rankings and you want to be involved, then join the Patreon. And every week I try to post what our topics are going to be and give you a chance to contribute. It's a lot of fun. All the information's in the description. But let's keep going to 2011. And in 2011, there's some good ones, a lot of ones I like. But I had to go with one of my favorites, if not my favorite. I have to go with Trading Christmas as my favorite. Oh, really? Oh, good. I just think this is really well written. I love both couplings. I love the little relationship with her daughter and Andrew Francis, and her daughter's relationship. And I think it's very well written and well acted. And I think it's almost feature worthy. I think you could put it in. I mean, it's
absolutely. It's still one of the best Christmas movies that Hallmark has done. It's really stood the test of time, because it's 2011, but it's still so great. The whole swapping of the houses and and couplings that they end up doing. It's really fun. And the daughter thinks she's slick because she's going to make Christmas with her boyfriend. She thinks she's slick, and her mom is stuck in New York.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's funny. It's great.
It's great. The whole thing with Tom Cavanagh and Gabriel Miller, where they where she gives him the critique on his book, and that whole thing is so charming and well done. And then I think there's some real nice character work that Faith Ford does with her character, in her realizing that she can love again, that she can, that she's been kind of stuck, and
she doesn't have to do Christmas the same every year.
And that she can move on from this grief that she's been in. And I really I liked how that's all handled, and there's actual affection in this movie. The characters act like adults. It's
totally. They're acting their age. They're
yes.
appropriate. You know,
Yes.
they're not playing 10 to 12 years younger.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, oh, good. I'm glad you have that one. That one is really good.
Still
all
a
right.
favorite
So,
of mine.
2012. What do you have for 2012?
I have Naughty or Nice.
Oh, that's a good
with
one.
Hilaria Burton, Matt Dallas, and we have like a family ties reunion with Meredith Baxter and Michael Gross playing her parents, and there's Soap Star and Judging Amy Star, Jessica Park in it. I mean, this movie isn't. It's a fun one. It's not particularly a good looking movie. It's got maybe 2 locations,
and it's
you know.
They don't even. I mean, I think this is it set in California. I mean, it's not Christmassy as far as like that is one thing about these old movies is they didn't even try to make them Christmassy.
No, because I and now I can't remember where it is because the whole joke is that she gets dumped, she gets fired, she hates her job. I mean, her last name is Kringle. She lives on Mistletoe Lane. She keeps getting
There's
all these letters for Sandy. There's no snow, so I do think it's somewhere in California. She keeps getting all these letters to Santa. The only job she can get is working at a mall as an elf. And really that mall looks like it's a garage.
That's
but
true.
Despite the look of that, it is funny because she gets the Naughty or Nice book in the mail. And she is like, I am going to use these powers for my own. And like she has a terrible neighbor who's always like, you're the only house without Christmas decorations. And she's seeing everybody's naughty, you know, on the naughty list and using that to her advantage. So the power gets to her head. And she's got a little flirtation with the guy who works with her co-elf at the mall. And, you know, and just like any other classic movie, I've gone too far. I've got to fix everything. You know, she herself is on the naughty list. It goes all kinds of wrong. And it's pretty funny. But it is also funny that it looks so cheap, but it's also highly entertaining. Like this is a perfect example of a movie that overcomes its budget, has fun with itself, and it just has fun with the premise, and it just goes out.
She is. It is.
The power goes to her head with that book, though. Which she does to her neighbor. I mean, which I was kind of like, and then you feel sorry for her.
Well, the relationship. The relationship's a little messier though than typical Hallmark. You know, when she dumps that spaghetti on him or whatever.
Oh my gosh,
forget what it was, chili or whatever. It was chili or spaghetti or something. What
would I do if I had that part? You know, I saw everybody's naughtiness or sins or however you want to approach that. What would I do?
There's some good ones this year. There's Matchmaker. Matchmaker Santa. Matchmaker Santa was this year. It's Christmas Carol was this year with Carrie Fisher, which I really enjoyed that one. Yes.
I know people love Matchmaker Santa, but I'm like, Santa is wrong in that movie. He's breaking up a perfectly fine couple.
It's not the one, but in fairness, he does give everybody a replacement.
You know,
so
like
nobody's left.
I know this relationship is solid. Here's another person, you know, to come in and like break up your relationship. So they're all cheating in a way. Unwillingly cheating, I guess.
We talked about in our first of the season episode, we talked about Christmas Song. That was this year.
Right.
And that one's pretty fun.
It's a good one.
It has one of the rare animated films from Hallmark, Jingle and Belle's Christmas Star.
Cute.
Yeah, which are cute. And Hitch for the Holidays, and some people really enjoy that one. And Bride for Christmas is a popular one, so it's a pretty good year, I would say.
Totally.
Yeah, and we did review Baby's First Christmas for a classic throwback episode. It's an interesting one.
I have a memory of that one. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, somebody gave me that on DVD. When I was unpacking, I still had the plastic on it.
Oh, really? Well, my favorite,
Oh
I
well.
almost went forward without saying the one I picked. My favorite is Love at the Thanksgiving Day Parade. One of my, you'll see where it
Yes.
ranks later,
Yeah.
but one of my all-time favorite Hallmark movies.
Yeah.
It's another one that I think is pretty close to feature worthy. I mean, it has a cinematic
Totally.
feel to it, I think. There's some
Totally.
wonky parts, like when they get stuck in she gets drunk off one drink of champagne, and but I
Well, she's
think
a
that,
classy lady, you
yeah,
know?
I guess. And her boyfriend is hilarious. Like one of the
Oh,
best bad boyfriends
yeah.
ever. Like just so clueless and hilarious.
Yeah. And I
In
love
his
how retro
cluelessness.
she is too,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
that she's so
her
retro.
fashion, her
Her
fashion, and
fashion, just
yeah. And there's
and
like a
Allie
reason
Liebert's in
for
that
it.
movie too, right?
Allie Liebert plays her best
Yes, the
friend.
friend, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so she's good. I mean, and they have such wonderful chemistry. Antonio Cupo and
Yeah,
Autumn
totally. It is
Reeser.
that is a very fun movie.
I love it. And when I was on Screen Drafts, I picked it for one of my picks, and people tried to claim that it's not a Christmas movie because it's on Thanksgiving, but it literally
The whole
ends
premise
with
of
him
it
in a
is,
Santa suit. I mean,
yeah, I mean, it is the Thanksgiving Day parade, but I mean, they are trying to work the Christmas part
yeah,
of the parade. They're all in charge of finding the Santa of doing this, and
it's
it bleeds into
absolutely
Christmas. So
yeah.
it's both. It's both.
Is Miracle on 34th Street, is that not a Christmas movie? Like that's bonkers. So yes, it's definitely a Christmas movie, and it totally counts and is really delightful.
Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
It's
Yeah,
Ron
it is.
Oliver's script, and he's usually one of the best. Pretty reliable, I'd say.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay, 2013. What do you
Oh boy.
have?
I have Snow Bride.
This is
I
a
looked it
very
over.
hard year.
I know. Yes, this was a very hard year. And I was like, what did I have? I was just racking my memory. And I was like, what did I have the most joy? And I did not see Snow Bride when it first aired. I caught it a couple years
Yeah.
later. It's a shame because it doesn't repeat anymore. Like, come on, Hallmark. We can go past, they only go 3 to 4 years. They don't go much after that. Get into your vault. You have so many classics. Like, oh, we'll put it on Hallmark drama if we do anything. Nobody watches Hallmark drama. Get a classic day, like dedicated day of the week to your classic movies. Come on, guys. It's not that hard.
Did you know that this movie was written by Tracy Ann Dreen, and Katrina Law is her sister-in-law?
Yes, I knew that. I did. But it's just like they just don't make this kind of premise anymore because she's a paparazzi and the most awful friend and bridesmaid or best, matron of honor that you could ever have. Because what that lady does to her friend's dress.
Yeah.
Because she's like at the gym, she's picking up her dress. She's already a terrible bridesmaid before any of this happens. She gets the scoop, like this rich guy might be engaged to this lady. They're all over, she's a paparazzi. She got to run there in the middle of a snowstorm all of a sudden in her gym clothes freezing. And when she gets stuck in the snow and what's the first thing you would do in this situation? Put on a wedding dress. Yeah, that makes total sense. and she falls, and it is just disgusting. And I just kept thinking, I was like, I'd be like, you're done. You're out of this wedding. I never want to speak to you again. True. But of course it's a misidentity. I ran away from my, she can't remember. I ran away from my job, my fiance, whatever.
It really delivers on the sort of screwball comedy kind of roots that the way
she's lying to these people, these good-hearted rich people who took her in. First of all, the dumbest rich people ever to just take this lady in without it, any warning. But like, and of course, and her fighting with the other guy. He's trying to get the scoop, but I got the inside scoop. And of course, feelings. And then these people are nice, and I can't go through it. And the worst possible fiance ever in this movie too. And you're like, yes, she is not the right one for you. This lady who's lying to you, who's a paparazzi, is the perfect one.
Yeah,
it's so screwball-y. It feels kind of like a classic screwball movie from the 50s or something like that. And they go modern with it.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's just a lot of fun. And the cast is great. Katrina Law is great.
So this is a great year. You have a very merry mix-up, which is a classic.
Oh yeah, this was hard. This was a hard year to pick.
Yeah, you have Window Wonderland, which is a fan favorite. Absolutely great. Very fun. You get to see Cameron Matheson as a villain. This is the Bad Man of Business in that one.
Oh,
Let It Snow is a favorite. I love that one. Yeah. I love how you get to see all the different traditions that they celebrate. That's fun at the end. And let's see, we talked about the Thanksgiving house in our first of, that one's fun, very tropey. But my favorite from this year is I have to go with For Crazy as my favorite. It's a tough, like I said, it's tough, but I think what separates this, and to me makes it one of the best Hallmark Christmas movies, is that you have such clear character motivation with this character. She doesn't like Christmas. Most of the time it's just kind of like put out there, but there's no reason. Like, it's just person is just like a grumpy person. But in this case, she doesn't like Christmas because her parents ran a Christmas tree a lot growing up.
She had to work
and she had to work, and it took them away. And so she resented it. And so she wanted to get as far away from that as she could. So she became like, successful business person, and she's not really demonized for that. She just learns through the course of the movie to appreciate what her parents did and to come more connected and to appreciate Christmas. And I just really like her character journey.
Yep.
And I like the fact that all parts of it make sense and are I just think it's a well-written story, and it's really less about the romance as it is about her coming to forgive her parents and coming to love Christmas and accept the Christmas tree farm. And at the same time, you have the Colin Mockery character, who is also, he's a little over the top, I'll grant it, but for this kind of movie, I think it's fine. And he's also learning to forgive and learning to love Christmas again. And so they kind of have that in common in a way. And I think that's why they're able to, in the end, work everything out. And there's some hijinks, some fun parts, like when they're trying to sort of hide the tree lot and from Colin Mockery. And there's just enough of Eric Johnson and the little romance. I think the skating date is really good in this, because sometimes those are very bad. And I like even her cousin. I like that, just pretty much everything in the lot. And I just think it's a really well written, good story, well acted. Hallmark movie.
Agree.
Yeah. So, and I feel like it's one that's kind of forgotten. I don't, maybe
totally it is.
She's like,
this one's on the streaming service if anybody wants to check it out. Hallmark Movies now has it on the streaming service. I would recommend it. Some of these oldies are forgotten, and they're not really even that old, but some of them are forgotten because Hallmark does so many, like 40 plus a year now, and these are going back to the early days when they only did like 7.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I wonder if that was the better approach. I don't know. But what do you have for 2014?
I have a very long lasting favorite, and that's Christmas Under Wraps with Candace Cameron Bure and David O'Donnell. And I don't know, it's very charming because she's a very like, I'm a doctor and I'm only ever going to apply to this one thing, this one internship or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
When she's going in, because her father went there and she's trying to live up to her father's legacy. And of course, she doesn't get picked and she has no alternatives, like an idiot. She didn't book anything else. She ends up in a little remote town in Alaska, which may or may not be, you know, Santa's headquarters. There's a toy story. There's an elf. She's got to treat this town. She falls in love with Santa's son, who, this part really annoyed me. He is a grown man, like super grown. And he's like, I don't want to follow in my dad's footsteps. And she's like running the toy store, you know, and you've got all the elves hitting with the caps and stuff. So he's definitely Santa. And of course, he's like, I don't want to take after Santa. And it's very charming. It's a quirky town and it has all that Christmas magic going around and hiding that there's Santa and stuff. And it's really cute. And then they made a sequel last year that was not great, which made no sense to me.
I thought it was okay.
Had it not been attached to this movie, it would have been fine, because he does mention in this movie that he had a relationship before he met CCB in this one. And then they're going off of that relationship in the sequel. And he's like, this man's like 50 plus years old, still crying about he doesn't want to take over his dad's work. And it's just, it's the same story. Basically, it's the same story again. But this one has a real charm to it. It has a whole, is he Santa, is he not? The whole wink to the audience. And it's just, it's cute. And you know, it's nothing fancy looking, but it's just quirky characters and the scenarios and that crazy reindeer and
this year is kind of a mess. I there are some that are good. I almost went with One Starry Christmas. I also like
that one's solid.
I also like North Pole, even though I think the second one is a little bit better.
The second one is much better. I would agree with
better. But it has Angels and Ornaments, one of my least favorite.
That movie did not bother me. I know it bothers you, but
I don't like it.
It's been a long time since I've seen it.
That's
the dead grandpa one, right?
Yes. Grandpa Angel.
That one did not. That one did not bother me, but I know.
It also had the Best Christmas Party Ever, which I don't love. It had the Christmas Parade, which I don't love.
That one I could go on it. I still remember. I've only ever watched Christmas Parade once, but I can still remember the dislike I have for it. Like, it's cold and they're walking around with, there's no wind, like not even a fan. Turn on a fan, you know, and the coat situation, and they're sweating on skates. It's just it's crazy. If you want to watch something bonkers, there you go.
But it does have One Christmas Eve, which is a pretty good, if you want one that's very silly, then that's a Hall of Fame actually, that's really solid. That's underrated. And then it has One Starry Christmas, which we talked about in our first of, which I really love. I think that one's great. And so I debated, but in the end I kind of had to go with the fan favorite. Went with the 9 Lives of Christmas as the pick. I think this one I think the banter is really solid in this, and I think that Kimberly in particular is excellent. She plays sort of the nerdy, awkward characters super well. She's very charming. They have nice chemistry. And I mean, the sequel was cute enough. In the world of Hallmark sequels, it was okay. I just wish that they hadn't had them break up. I don't know why they did that, but
and
like,
it mimics so much the first movie as well, with the hiding of the ice cream tubs that she's buying at the store. It's the same thing that they do over again. The homage.
I mean, I don't know why they didn't just have them be married and have a sequel. Like, it's just the problem with sequels. It was passable. It was fine. But this is a lot of fun. You don't see cats that often in these movies, so that's sort of different. I love the scene where they kiss under the mistletoe. It's really fun. Great. Like, the conflict is relatively understandable why she would be upset seeing him at this party.
Oh my gosh, that girlfriend that he's dating.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a shrew girlfriend. She's just the worst. She like hates animals and why is he dating her? We have no idea, but
isn't she the weather girl too? I think.
Good in it.
Yeah, isn't she the weather girl? No, she does something and then now I can't remember.
I can't remember what her job is, but
I thought she was on TV in that one, but yeah, she is a terrible person. She doesn't like cats. Terrible. Who doesn't like cats? Apparently everybody, because with all these this is another pro because I am a cat person, and so they had cats instead of dogs because we usually get dog movies all the time.
Yeah.
So this was a fun premise. It is. It's great.
Yeah.
It's really enjoyable. It's a classic.
Yeah, it's fun. So what about 2015? Which one did you have?
So I have Crown for Christmas.
Same.
I really, really thought about it, and this was the one that I thoroughly enjoyed. A very simple looking movie. It has an incredibly, if you watch it for the first time, keep an eye out for that fake background. It must have been a pickup shot, but when she's in her room and there's the fake background, it's hysterical. But I just love it because that was the first time we ever got a king in a royal movie. And, and she's like, one day she's a maid and the next day she's a nanny in a made up country, for everybody who sounds British. And you got the guy who works for the king is like, now he's not mustache twirling, but he's very like, we've got to be, protocol and the other lady who's like I believe she's a duchess trying to come in and be the new queen, and he's not feeling it. And he's like, and there's just some swoon-worthy moments. The whole scene at the end when he gets her on the horse. And it's just like, this is what I want in a royal movie. People who aren't crying about, I don't want to be a king or prince because I want to sell flowers or work at a mall or whatever. This is just a guy who's trying to run his country and, find love again.
Yeah. And
that's what's perfect about it.
He cares about his daughter and
exactly. He's a caring guy,
Yeah.
He's not crying about because he wants to work at a mall or a flower. Anyway.
Yeah. And when he comes after, that's so romantic. And it's just like everything that you could want in one of these kind of movies. I think.
It is a perfect modern day fairy tale.
Yeah. There's a lot of, I think, underappreciated ones this year. Sure. I think I Sculpture Christmas is really cute. I think Charming Christmas is really, really good, kind of Miracle on 34th Street-y.
Yeah.
Excuse me. There's that Second North Pole movie, which is fun, and they don't do Santa stories much anymore, so I kind of value that.
Santa stories, yeah.
Once Upon a Holiday is pretty good, royal movie, and 12 Gifts of Christmas is fun.
Yeah.
Where they keep getting all those. And let's see what else. Christmas Detour. I almost went with that one. That's a lot of fun.
That's a fan favorite as well.
Road trip movie. Christmas Land. That one's pretty good with Nikki DeLoach and Luke McFarlane.
Totally, yeah.
And Just in Time for Christmas was the Hallmark Hall of Fame, Elise Mumford, and that one's pretty good. So a lot of ones that you don't hear talked about that much, I would say.
No.
It is the year of A Christmas Melody, which I try not to remember.
Everybody was talking about that. I think Christmas Land was that Nikki DeLoach's first Hallmark movie? Christmas Land? I think so.
It might be, yeah. But Christmas Melody is the one that has the girl singing their like really random, sexy Christmas song.
Wow.
Like, why is this little girl singing this song? Like, I don't know.
You know what I love about that movie is that's the one with Mariah Carey, right?
Yes.
I want to make sure I don't. Okay, I want to make sure I don't mix up my movies.
Yeah, she
supposedly directed it, but I'm going to tell you this: she is the best part of just if you watch clock it. Mariah Carey is never in a scene with anybody else. You can clearly tell that whenever that when they're talking to someone, you see her from behind. It is a stand-in, and when they do like a close-up to her, she is clearly alone in a room filming her scenes. She is never with the cast at all.
Yeah.
And it adds to the charm of that movie, I guess. It is hilarious to see I was like, Mariah Carey couldn't even record. I mean, she chose the cast. It was her idea. Maybe she directed it, maybe she didn't. Question mark there. You see a picture of her directing, but who knows? But she couldn't even be bothered to stand with those people and do sing and do lines with them.
I mean, the thing is that the Directors Guild has like really strict rules about like who's allowed to get directing credits over things, like and how much time you have to be spending on things. And I mean,
I would say she was probably shadowed by somebody who knew what they were doing, but she probably did give it a go.
I mean, that's why somebody even like Joss Whedon did tons of the theatrically released Justice League. It was still listed as Zack Snyder's film. I mean, they have very strict rules, so it would be very, very weird if she actually didn't direct it and got the credit. Like,
but that's my conspiracy. My conspiracy theory is she showed up for 3 days. It feels like she did. It shows up. I feel like she showed up for like 4 days and had a shadow director, which would make sense because a lot of times these people, they do have people shadowing them who are doing their first movies and stuff. That's totally fine. And a lot of actors getting into directing also shadow other directors as well. But I feel like she put in half of the work. But the fact
something happened, it's not normal. But it's hilarious.
Like, I can't stand next to Lacey Chabert and do a scene with her, Yeah. It's so great. Take a sip of eggnog, take a drink of water, whatever, Don't drink actual booze because you'll get drunk if you clock how many times she's not in a scene with anybody. I don't know what your level is, but get some eggnog. Some people spike the eggnog too. I don't know. So that'll make you sick. Who knows? But it is worth a watch just for that. But it's also charming. So.
Yeah. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's Esther Hatch and her new book, One Small Secret. Step into the whimsical world of One Small Secret, where a dash of laughter and a sprinkle of Christmas cheer makes for the perfect festive read. Reuben Palmer is not only a Hotel Empire icon, he is also on every woman's Christmas list. But Cadence knows better than to fall for him. However, when a very adorable package ends up on her bed, Reuben is suddenly on her doorstep, wanting to be part of her life. Inspired by the classic movies Bachelor Mother and Bundle of Joy, this workplace rom-com is the perfect book to curl up and read with a cup of hot cocoa and your favorite blanket. So you can pick up One Small Secret anywhere you purchase novels or using our affiliate link down below. All right, well, let's move to 2016. So this one has quite a few good ones. It's got Heavenly Christmas. It's got Christmas in Homestead, which we both love. Totally. It's got the ever memorable Journey Back to Christmas. Got a lot of favorites. But
I nearly chose that one, Rachel. Nearly, but I knew better.
Anything. But I had to go with The Mistletoe Promise for my pick because I think it is such a well-written. First of all, they took a terrible book, depressing book, and made it into an actual good story. Way to go.
I've never read the book, but I know that they've made the 3 Mistletoe books into movies, and I've heard that the Hallmark versions are so much better than any of the books.
Much better.
Yeah.
And I like this take on the sort of work romance story, that they're both kind of trying to help each other out, and they both really do understand each other. I mean, and I like both leads, and I mean, it's very frustrating what their work making them do, and I guess some people say it's not realistic, but like, I don't know, it's realistic enough for this situation and cute. The only thing I don't like is her ponytails hurt my head.
Yeah,
they're so tight.
This was a movie that when I first watched it initially when it premiered, I did not like it.
Oh, interesting.
And then a couple of years later, I rewatched it again with my sister, and I was like, "Oh, this movie!" And my really sister's like, "I'm kind of curious to see it go," and I liked it so much better a second time. So sometimes you got to watch these, like, you do change your view on these movies, and I just appreciated it more. And I was like, no, kind of fun. It is like, I don't know what I was so fixated when I first watched it, but
Well,
it's your
and
typical, we're going to fake a date and then fall in love.
well, and Lachlan Monroe, I think he plays the worst husband in the history of
All these movies,
Hallmark.
he plays the worst husband.
He
Totally.
was
Always.
also that, and that
He was.
in that the one with Holly Robinson Pete, he was the bad husband too.
Oh my god! And he's in the Curious Cater as the ex-husband too.
Oh,
And
yeah.
in the first movie, he's trash, but in the second and third movie, he's redeemed himself. Right? He's redeemed himself, and you're like, and you're like, okay, because
that's funny.
But he's also the ex in that one, the ex-husband. So yeah, he's got a history.
So is this your pick for the year?
No.
For 2006? Oh, what's your pick for 2016?
Mine this one's obscure, and it gave late into the season, and it doesn't get repeated a lot, but it's My Christmas Love. It stars Meredith Wagner.
Oh, yes.
Bobby Campo, Gregory Harrison, and Megan Park in it. Yeah.
Is this the one where he gets all of the 12 gifts of Christmas?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what I was thinking was the 12 gifts of Christmas, but that's the shopper one. Okay. Yeah. So this one is good.
This one is good, Gabe. Like I remember when I watched this, I was sick and I had some kind of like asthma attack. So I'm laid up in my sister, like I'm at my sister's house because like I can't breathe, can't do nothing. I'm taking the breathing treatment. I'm in my sister's like bed, having people catering. I'm watching Hallmark all day long. And this movie premiered and it came on and it just made me feel 100% better. But it's such a sweet movie because she is a commitment phobe, but is a bleeding romantic. And she's coming home. Her sister's getting married. Her mom has passed away. And all of a sudden it's basically the 12 Gifts of Christmas, the song. So there's gifts each year. I'm sorry. There's gifts each day for the 12 days of Christmas that match the song. And she's like, who's sending me these anonymous gifts? And she goes back, with her BFF, Bobby Cambo, and her coworker. And together they try to figure out who it is. And she keeps going on these dates with these 4 guys that seem perfect and then go astray. And like Bobby Campo's right there for you. You just don't notice it. And this, spoiler alert, but the sweet message of this is that those gifts are not meant for her. Those gifts are meant for her father. And they were a last gift that her mother gave to the father as a show of love. And it's super sweet and it's emotional. And you're like, that's what you get for thinking everything is about you, to the girl. But it's so funny and it's so sweet. And it really is kind of lost to time. Because, this is back when there were so many movies and this gave almost at the end of December. And it's not streaming, because I was looking for a rewatch and it's just,
Yeah, that one is a fun one. It's funny, and every time he gets more birds. Why so many birds?
Oh, I mean, to pull off, the 12 Gifts of Christmas and stuff, pretty fun. Like when she opens the door and they're the dancers, the Pied Pipers and stuff, and she's like, "This is weird."
Well, the next year was the first year we were doing the podcast. And so going forward, people will probably be able to predict my picks. But 2017, I have to go with Miss Christmas. I loved this one.
I do love that one as well.
The chemistry. I really thought I liked the fact that she wasn't shamed for doing her job, and when she's like, I don't want to be Miss Christmas anymore, and then she leaves, and you're just like, oh. And I liked Fiona Vroom in this one. I think she's a really good friend character. But Mark Lucas is just
dreamy in this movie.
He's
this
so
is
good.
Probably, I'm just going off the top of my memory, but I think this is probably the best Brooke D'Orsi Christmas movie.
No question.
And if you've listened to our worst, I'm sorry, Brooke.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No question. Some other ones I thought about, A Gift to Remember, The Mistletoe Inn. The Mistletoe Inn, I'll always remember because it has where they have the craziest names for the drinks in that movie. And one of them is called the Tiny Tim. And I'm like, why would you name an alcoholic beverage off of a child?
A dying boy, yeah.
Boy, again, it's hilarious. It's a fun movie in general, but that
totally.
really
Bring
made me
back
laugh.
Alicia Witt, Hallmark.
Yeah.
Come on.
Finding Santa, I think, is elevated by its funny script by Julie Sherman Wolfe.
Yeah.
I actually really, I almost went with The Christmas Cottage. I really like that one a lot.
Yeah.
I think that one's really swoon worthy. Steve Lund. I love The Christmas Getaway. That's a favorite. I was really tempted to go with that. So it was a pretty good year, I think, to start the podcast.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
There
were some rough ones on the Miracles side that year, but not as many bad ones on this side. But there was The Christmas Train, which I hate. It was.
Oh man, what? I wonder. That was based on a book, right? I'm like, this book
and I
has
hate
to
the
be
book.
Oh, you do hate? Okay, because I have
not
not.
For me.
It's
so stupid.
I almost was like, should I read this? And then I was like, no, because sometimes you just get that feel.
The worst twist ever. It was like, what is Shyamalan directing this movie now? It was terrible. It was not good. But what do you have?
I have Christmas Getaway.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
This movie.
Yeah,
I love this movie. Travis Van Winkle as a single dad, which he plays a lot apparently in these Hallmark movies, and Bridget Regan. And I just love how they're stuck. You see the mix up happening of him booking this cabin, and they are stuck together, and they decide to share it. And she's like a travel writer, and she's never spent a really traditional Christmas anywhere because her parents were also traveling and whatnot. So she's trying to do Christmassy things, traditional, make a list, write an article from a different point of view, and she's attaching to this family, and she doesn't get along with him real well, and there's a lot of I'm stuck in the snow. I don't know, it's just so great. There's great chemistry. It's a lot of fun. It's a very traditional type of story,
Yeah.
And
it's funny.
Being stuck sharing a house
into
is
the
very
funny.
Common. Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm. And like
and
when she
also
uses her crock maga.
Oh, and Terrell Rothery is the mom, Travis Van Winkle's mom.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of that. There's the mom, the other mom who goes to the play, and she's like, are those two dating, or what's up with that? And I think she would like to date him. I mean, it's Travis Van Winkle. Who wouldn't?
This is another one written by Tracy Andreen.
Yeah. So I mean, this one's
amazing.
Yeah, there's a good chance you catch this one. This one is a big hit with Hallmark fans as well.
Yeah,
so
it's really good. Yeah. We've done that for with Tracy. We did watch along with her with that, and it's really good. All right. Well, let's 2018. What is your pick?
And my pick is Shoe Addict's Christmas.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I really had to think about this one, because this was another good year.
It was,
but I just had a lot of fun with the premise of it. It's basically a Christmas Carol, you know. CCB, Candace Cameron gets stuck in the mall that she's working, the shoe department, and Jean Smart is like
another photographer.
Yes, there's another. She wants to be a photographer, and she's working at the shoe department. And Jean Smart is the friendly ghost, and basically she gets to try on all these fabulous shoes, and they transport her to what her life would have been if she went down this way, could have been. And Luke McFarlane plays the hunky firefighter that, she's getting to know through all these, what ifs or what could have been with all these shoes. And I just think that it's a fun premise with the Christmas Carol sort of story structure, and there's a sweet connection with Jean Smart in it, which I get to see why she's a ghost in it. And I don't know, I like it because it's unique with the premise. They changed it up, unique enough. It's the shoes are making you travel, and it's just, I like it because it's an updated, it still feels very much a Christmas Carol, but it's updated, modernized with a nice twist to make it stand out.
Yeah.
From a sea of others.
I liked it too, especially Jean Smart. She's so good.
Yeah.
This actually was kind of a mixed year, I would say. You've got you've got some duds like you've got the Christmas in Love, the Kringle movie. You have
yes, that
Christmas
is
at
2018.
Graceland, which wasn't great.
I like the sequel better.
Yeah, I did too. Pride, Prejudice, and Mistletoe, one of my least favorites.
See, these things I've erased from my memory. They don't exist, Rachel.
So it's a little bit of a rough year. But my favorite, I did love Christmas Joy. I'm a fan of the Cookie Crawl, the Cookie Crawl movie. And I also really enjoyed It's Christmas Eve. That was a good introduction as far as holiday to Tyler Hines. And and that's also written by Tracy and Doreen. But I had to go with Road to Christmas as my favorite.
Oh yeah.
I really enjoyed this
great
one.
Too,
I like all the stops along the way. I like the growth between the brothers, and if you can manage to have a Christmas movie where the characters make everybody work on Christmas Day and it's still heartwarming and still
right,
that says something. And I think the finale really pays off and I like the fact that Jessie just sings like a normal human. She's not like trying to be, get heard by a producer. She's just like singing from her heart, and so it's really nice. And
the coming together with the mom and the brothers. A lot of times, the Christmas special,
like when people sing on Hallmark, it would be like, even if it's just like in their family and they're not, they're like ooh, and she just sings like a human, which I like. I think it's got some, Zach Hoog wrote it. It was his first for Hallmark. And I think it's got some real nice humor in it. The only like real flaw with this movie is the white elephant exchanges insanity. Like, have you ever seen a white elephant exchange? It's not like iPads. Like that's not what it is. But
I've never experienced a white elephant.
Oh, really?
Party.
Like it's
never.
Usually like goofs. Like it's supposed to be
funny. That was my impression as well. And I was like, these are some fancy gifts. I've done like Secret Santa and stuff like that, but never a white elephant.
Because you're supposed to want to swap your gifts. Like that's the fun of it. It's like, oh, I don't want to hold on to this very much longer. But yeah, I mean, usually
my imagine the person who wants to swap the iPad.
My go-to is I usually just buy the like Harry Potter jelly beans for because it's like a little bit gross, but like mostly funny. So that's usually my go-to. But like, but other than that, I thought it was really sweet, and I really just enjoyed all the stops along the way and the family message. And so that one's my favorite from 2018.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hearty, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
What was your pick for 2019?
This was another late airing, late in December. The trailers didn't look that great, but it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Yes, I'm so glad. I love that one.
Yeah, with Eric Mabius and Trisha Halford. Basically, man, the fact that the town is split directly with a line, like on a bench in the bakery, a town that, split to east and west, and they played, they went to school together. They're lifelong friends. They're mayors of each town. They're spying on each other. They're competing to see who's going to win like the Christmas decorating contest. And it will benefit the town. And then they realize they have to come together to win it. so that, the feuding towns or whatever will like have to come together to win it. And they have good chemistry, and it actually shows like these people are divorced, they have children, that normal lives, because it's usually always a dead parent. There's nothing sad about that, but it's funny, and it's just they have good chemistry, and it's kind of unique. We've seen feuding towns before over Christmas decorations, all that, but like a town literally split by a line, like they're sitting on a bench talking to each other, and there's a line.
That was hilarious.
And the bakery, there's a line in the bakery as well. I mean, that's so funny.
Yeah.
So funny.
That one was written by Rick Garman, and he crushed it.
This one was like
very funny.
To me, I felt like this one was like, there's a lot of times like towards the end of the year that it goes out on a whimper. But that and there was another one like 'Tis the Season to Be Merry, like, and the other one, another road trip movie, I can't remember the name, but these were like all like, no, these are really great, we're ending the season strong. And I feel like, because by then you get less and less promos to the movies, and I feel like this one was a secret hit that nobody knew about, and it's so much fun.
I agree. Yeah, that one would be very high up on my list. This was a lot of meh year, a lot of ones that weren't like terrible, but were just kind of but I did really like Check Into Christmas. That one, fun with the sort of feuding families, done very well. But the one that I like Double Holiday quite a bit.
That one was kind of hard. Like I was like, well, I like that one too. So it was like I was debating between the both of those.
But I had to go with actually Christmas Town as my favorite.
Yeah.
I loved this movie. I just felt like if you want a movie that captures the idyllic Hallmark Christmas Town, this is one of the best I've ever seen. Like, it's good name for a Christmas Town, because I just thought it really was magical and comforting and sweet. And I do not pretend for a second to believe that, to say this is an accurate depiction of adoption, but I still just thought like her bond was so good with the boy, and it was meaningful when she did adopt him. And like, I just went where this story wanted me to go. I went where it wanted me to go. And
it's
then
sentimental,
every time,
but not over. Sorry.
Yeah. No, every time that she would read one of those letters from her dad, it would get me. It would really get me. And I thought it was just very, very, very sweet and idyllic. And you can tell that they shot this whole thing on on a back lot, on a set, because it just has this sort of like artificiality in a good way, like that everything is just, it's like it's escapism. This is Hallmark escapism in Christmas Town.
Like, and I also love it because I do love it too, because it's sentimental, but not in an oversaturated way. It just hits the right, because she's a teacher, she's trying to find this connection with her dad. She herself lost her parents young, so she connects on that way with the little boy. And just rediscovering, like, you know what, just because she's heading for a new job and she's stopping here first in the town first, and she just finds like a new not desire, but just like not a dream, just a new chapter in her life. Like, I think I could live here, I think I could work here, I think I'd be happy in this town, I think I want to adopt. I really like too that we have the angle of adoption, the mixed families, the bringing in the families, that's a really good message. It's a positive message, and it's not a baby, he's like a kid, and so it just shows a different angle. And I didn't buy the romance that much in that movie.
It's more secondary.
It's more secondary, and he gets mad at her wanting to adopt that kid, because he wants to as well, so there's a whole, that part was like, but it is sweet, and it does show that unexpected things can be good for us. It can change our, having thinking that you want to do this, having your dream, and then going another direction is not entirely a bad thing. Sometimes it's good for you. So.
Definitely. Okay, what do you have for this year? Or wait, you already have.
No,
Sorry, you already said you. So And we did do we've done patron watch-alongs for a lot of these. So we had David Weaver on, the director, and we watched Christmas Town with him. So that's the kind of experiences you're getting with the patron watch-alongs. You're getting the director sharing that's why I knew about it being on a backlot and all the different details. I mean, we've done for just a ton of these movies. We've done watch-alongs, and so sign up for the Patreon. I really do think, not to go on too long, but I really do think that we get a bigger bang for your buck for the Patreon than any other one I've seen. Monthly connections with talent, whether Q&As or watch-alongs. You get weekly exclusive reviews and the patron group. It's, I think, well worth your investment, and it helps us so much. So check out the Patreon. But what do you have for 2020?
Christmas Waltz.
Me too.
I just and they did so much on a lesser budget.
Yeah.
And with the COVID restrictions as well.
Yeah.
But it's of course,
enchanting.
It really is. We've got Michael Damian, who's Danny Romolani on The Young and the Restless, and he's known for Rock On, which my sister and I literally rocked on, and mall appearances that he made singing Rock On. But anyway, the good old days. But he's made he still acts sometimes and he still sings a little bit, but he's made a really good dent, and he's got a lot of films that he's directed, and that he has co-written with his wife.
Yep.
They wrote and they the one on Netflix with Lindsay, what's her last name?
Lindsay Lohan.
I can't. That's it. I can't believe I forgot her name. Lindsay Lohan. That one was co-written by them. It's really fun, directed by his wife. But this one's very charming. Reteaming Lacey Chabert and Will Kemp, and Will Kemp, who had Great Recipe from the chocolate movie. And just what I love about this movie is they did not have to give up careers or dreams or anything to be together.
Yeah.
She gets dumped and she's like, I'm going to continue with these dance lessons, and just do it myself. She's being positive about that. She is a very busy lawyer, and he has a dream about owning his own studio, and they connect and dance. And there's a wonderful sort of definitely an homage to 50s musicals and to 40s musicals where they're dancing on the street and on the benches and stuff like that, almost with the raincoats and stuff. And it's so enchanting and it's so charming, and the dancing element, it's super sweet.
Yeah.
And it was the best thing they did that year.
Yeah, it really was. I think you'd be pretty hard pressed to find a Hallmarkie that wouldn't have this be the best that year.
Totally.
Almost everybody I know. I loved it. Just, it was so enchanting to have them dancing down the street, and just my dream of a Hallmark musical. It's probably as close as I'll ever get, but
very true. Yeah,
it was wonderful, and yeah, great chemistry, and really satisfying when she does the dance at the end. And so yeah, speaking of the Patreon, we had Michael and Janine on for a watch along with this movie, and Lacey Chabert joined us. So that's what I'm saying. You get your money's worth with the Patreon. But this was a favorite. Would be my choice. Some others that I thought about: One Royal Holiday. I really enjoy that. On the 12th Date of Christmas. I like that one.
That one was fun.
Christmas with the Darlings. That's one that it kind of grew on me. I'm not. I thought it was really, really cute and good chemistry between the two leads on that one. And let's see what else. The Christmas House, that one's pretty good.
That is,
that one's pretty good. So yeah, it was an interesting year. Of course, that was the year of If I Only Had Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh, Good Morning Christmas. That was a good one. I liked that.
That
was pretty good.
That one's not for me.
Oh, you didn't like it? I liked that one, and I liked Christmas by Starlight. That was Kimberly and Paul.
That was great.
That was good. So a pretty interesting year. But
they managed to pull it off with all those COVID restrictions too, that a majority of those films were really good to watch.
That's true. That was
limitations that they had.
Unbelievable. Miracle. Christmas miracle.
Yeah.
All right. So 2021, what did you have as your favorite?
I had Next Stop Christmas. I really had to think about this one. I really had to think about this year because there's some good ones here, but I just loved the time traveling aspect. I'm a sucker for time traveling. And like I said, Journey to Christmas, that bonkers one almost made my list. But so I had to put some kind of form of time traveling. But just the issue of the train, like going back to specific years, riding the train, and just seeing what her life would have been like if she said yes to marrying the weatherman.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's a successful doctor. Yeah, she's a successful doctor, busy. But what she does learn in traveling back in time is that, yeah, she could have changed her life, but she was also not selfish isn't the right word. She just was busy and did not notice things that were happening within her family, like the breakdown of her parents' marriage, her sister, what they were going through. She was so focused on herself and what could have been, and going back in time really opens her eyes to other people's problems or, you know, stuff that they were going through. And then of course she hooks in her friend Chandler Massey in there, and they, you know, who helps her trying to travel and get back to the right time through the train. And there's kind of a Back to the Future sort of reunion with Leah Thompson and Christopher Lloyd in it. And there's a sort of wink to that. And I really liked that. I almost didn't know how they were going to end this, how they were going to fix all the timeline now that she's gone back, and the way that they just I do like the way that they just sort of, it just happened and they don't remember and they meet up again. But we do know that everything that happened had an effect. It did change the outcome of these people's lives. And it ends on a sort of sweet note where they're sort of reconnecting, and you're like, oh yes, they get that chance now that they didn't have back then.
Yeah, it was a fun, sweet little movie. I enjoyed it.
It's fun. It's just like, it's a nice premise. It's fun with it.
Some other good ones this year. I liked the Santa Stakeout a lot. I liked Christmas Sale. I was just so happy to see Katie Sackhoff in the Hallmark family.
Christmas Sale is great.
Sweet.
Yeah,
I thought it was sweet. I liked "'Tis the Season to Be Merry." I thought that one was fun. Was a lot of fun. And I liked A Very Merry Bridesmaid and A Dickens of a Holiday. Well.
Yep.
Those were good.
They're all good. Yeah.
So quite a few good ones. But my favorite is A Kiss Before Christmas. I loved this movie. I thought it was so, like, it to me did the whole family man story right, because instead of placing him with a new family and having him be a businessman and then getting his family, which doesn't actually exist, so it makes the ending like weird. Here he has his family taken away, which is so much more like emotional, and and then him trying to connect with Terry Hatcher and like realizing that the things that she kind of sacrificed for the family, and that he could listen better. And I just thought it was beyond brilliant that they have him have his kids be adopted, so that when he's in this altered dimension, his kids are still alive, but they're with different parents, and what that would be like happy. If you saw your kids with different parents, like you,
and they're happy too.
Yeah, they're happy.
You know, everyone is happy without him,
Hallmark,
which is a double. Yeah,
they can't have.
But they're happy without him. It's a double punch and stuff. Yeah. You know?
And I also thought it was funny and witty, like, you know, like the talking clock and, you know, just stuff like that. And, you know, huge heart. You're really feeling it by the end when he's just
Santa desperate. Telling him Santa's like, you're kind of ungrateful. But you don't really hate him for being that ungrateful either. You kind of feel how bummed he is at the beginning of the movie. It makes sense
because, I mean, and it was so funny because the week before I was like, will there ever be a well-meaning condo developer in a Hallmark movie? And then this comes out and He's a well-meaning content developer. Unbelievable.
Yeah, this one's a great, yeah.
And,
you know.
And I speak again, not to plug the Patreon another time, but we had James Denton on the Patreon watch along, and we watched and talked about it, and it was so fun. And I of course they have good chemistry. They already had chemistry.
I had never watched Desperate Housewives.
Yeah.
So I did not know. And I was like, they no wonder they worked so, they were paired up and worked so well on that show, because they had really great chemistry here. And it was nice to see too. There are many times when we have people of certain ages who don't do age appropriate stuff,
Yep.
And this was totally an age appropriate storyline, and still like fun to watch. Like these people are a certain age. Like Terry Hatcher's like, I want to go back to college. The kids are like older now. I want to pursue my own dreams, and his frustrations. It was just like those frustrations were real to life. You have disappointments like that, especially at work, because work can kill your, like a certain job that you hate can kill your soul.
Yes. And I related to that so much. And so I mean, it's rare when I watch a Hallmark movie and I think I wouldn't change anything. Like for what it's trying to be, I gave it a 5 crowns, because for what it's trying to be, it does it. It's
totally.
It's excellent. So let's see.
Then we got 2022.
Okay. So 2022 is our last year. And why don't you go first on this one?
I picked Hanukkah on Rye.
Me too. Okay, interesting. Yeah.
It is obviously by the title a Hanukkah movie, but it was really, to me, it was the best that they came out with 2020. We had some strong ones, we had some clunkers on my end, but just the script, the cast, the chemistry. I mean, it was a little too cute with how they ended it and the connections between the families. But outside of that, it's just so charming with the grandmothers going to an old-fashioned, matchmaker, and they have to write, like, they sort of become pen pals, and they don't know who they are, and he figures it out first. And he's really in a hole once he figures it out, because she doesn't know he's opening a competing, like bakery, another Jewish bakery. And it's like, when she finds out, he's like, you're spying on me. You're trying to like one up and take our family down. And I just, all of that. And he's trying to fix this mess, because it was also nice that he figured out way before she did, because you had another layer to the story. And you know what? It kind of reminded me of You've Got Mail.
Yeah, it definitely has that perfumery influence.
It had sort of that vibe, to the shop around the corner and stuff like that. It kind of really reminded me of that aspect. And I think that's why I liked it even the more.
Yeah.
And it's just so, that matchmaker did not speak a word in the movie. That was great. But the dueling grandmas, I want my money back. I want this. Like at the end, when they're so frustrated.
Yeah, that was funny. I mean, I kind of struggled last year because I'm like, it feels a little weird that a Hanukkah movie is my favorite of Countdown to Christmas, but it is. That's what it is.
It is the best Hanukkah movie that Hallmark has put out
by far.
By far, yeah. And it's solely Hanukkah too. They don't have throw in Christmas. Like we've had some decent Hanukkah movies. I really do love Double Holiday, because they're celebrating their holidays together. That
pretty good. Underappreciated, I think. It got underappreciated,
but they're
more hate than it deserved.
And they're celebrating, but this one is like solely Hanukkah. It's focused on that, and it's just great.
Last year, you basically got whiplash watching Hallmark movies, because they were either really bad or really good.
It's true. It was true. It wasn't as strong as 2021. And so we started with a bang, and then you're like, oh, and then you go back to a bang.
Like 2019 was like almost all of them were kind of like, whereas this one, it was like either you got the most colorful time of the year, or fabled holiday, or just like these not good, or you had like
that was the movie that broke me.
You had it was like The Holiday Sitter, A Holiday Spectacular. You had Three Wise Men and a Baby, Haul Out the Holly. Like there were
Totally.
quite a few good ones. The Royal Nanny I enjoyed. In Merry Measure I really liked.
Oh yeah.
Lights Camera Christmas was fun. So there were quite a few. Magical Christmas Village I hated. It was
no magic in that one.
No, it was the year that Hallmark giveth and taketh.
And if you listen to the worst, you get a sample of that.
Yes.
And my complete and utter meltdown, the worst Christmas movie over A Colorful. There's been, I think the closest I've ever broke down was the Father Christmas movies. And I think if you've been listening to these ranking episodes, you know by now that those movies broke us, took us to a dark place. Yes. But like, I almost didn't recover from the from the Colorful movie.
I mean, this list would be a lot different if we were it would probably be a bit different if we were including the miracles of the Hallmark Movies Mysteries movies. Like I would have Signed, Sealed, Delivered on here. I would have
totally. What a great.
I would have Delivered by Christmas on here. That was my favorite that year.
Signed, Sealed. If no one's seen that Christmas movie, you watch that. It is the perfect. Just the way they mix in the religious aspects of the holiday with everything else. It's just such a good blend. But because that's another thing too. Like Christmas Christmas is very secular in these movies. They're made so everybody can watch them, and that's another reason why I kind of like Hanukkah on Rye. It is about tradition. It is about the religious aspect and everything they do. So it really focuses.
Well, I think that's why it's harder to do a Hanukkah movie, is because it is a more objectively religious holiday.
Exactly.
Like there isn't
can't
like
separate
a huge,
it.
Whereas like there is this like secular part of Christmas that you can separate on its own, and it's just harder to do that with Hanukkah.
It's almost like it's true, because in Christmas it's almost like the tree is. I'm just going to say it. The tree is like God, right? And your commandments are baking cookies, decorating the tree, wrapping presents. You know, if you think about it, if you think about it like that, it very much is. It's like its own holiday, its own, its own separate thing that, and in many ways, and that's how because it's so commercialized, that's how it is. And I also love Hanukkah and Rye because they don't slip in Christmas. They have, it's around the same time, so you do see some of the decorations, but they are just totally focused.
Like I was fine with double holiday because the Christmas stuff made sense because it was part of their job and
right.
What I really didn't like was one that was on Lifetime where I forget what it was called, but where they're like giving each other lessons on Hanukkah and Christmas. I'm like, anybody that's an adult knows like basic things about both holidays. I really just liked that one.
And that one was
come on, they're not this stupid.
Like, let me teach you about Christmas. We're going to bake cookies and wrap presents. And for many people, that is Christmas. And for many other people, not really the point.
But here's an interesting question. If you had to pick, would you rather have a season with like pretty good, like, but kind of meh movies consistently, or have ones with highs and lows? Like really bad ones and really good ones.
I'm going to go with the highs and lows.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to go with the highs and lows because at least, they're taking maybe a chance, and some things work and some things don't.
Yeah. And the bad ones are usually, when they're that bad, they're usually kind of entertainingly bad.
Yeah.
That you can
like, I totally get a feeling for this year's that there's going to be more lows than highs. I'm getting that vibe, but I'm looking forward to the ride.
So let us know if you're listening what you think. Would you rather have the kind of meh but decent season or the extreme highs, extreme lows season?
Right.
So far they've been pretty even keeled. Nothing I've loved yet, nothing I've hated yet, but we'll see how it keeps going. But yeah, so I admit I was kind of late in getting this posted to the patron group about so we don't have a ton of answers. But Caroline, she says her answers are 2009 Mrs. Miracle, 2010 Call Me Mrs. Miracle, 2011 Trading Christmas, 2012 Matchmaker Santa, 2013 Window Wonderland, 2014 The 9 Lives of Christmas, 2015 Crown for Christmas, 2016 Mistletoe Promise, 2017 Christmas in Evergreen, 2018 It's Christmas Eve, 2019 Double Holiday, and 2020 Christmas by Starlight, 2021 An Unexpected Christmas. Oh, we forgot to mention that one. And 2022 Three Wise Men and a Baby.
Yeah.
And that is the that's the only one actually that we got.
That's a good list.
Yeah, so it's a good list. Good list. And we are going to, so what we're going to do now, we've given our favorites from each year. Now we're going to rank them because it's a ranking episode, our favorites. And so let's do this. So what's your number 14?
An Old Fashioned Christmas.
My number 14 is Crown for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And what's your 13?
Mrs. Miracle.
My number 13 is Road to Christmas. What is your number 12?
Naughty or Nice.
My number 12 is The 9 Lives of Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
What's your 11?
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Mine is Farewell, Mr. Kringle at 11. What is your number 10?
A Shoe Addict's Christmas.
And my number 10 is The Mistletoe Promise. What is your number 9?
My Christmas Love.
My number 9 is Miss Christmas. What is your number 8?
Christmas Under Wraps.
Mine is also CCB, Christmas Town. What is your number 7?
Snow Bride.
Mine is The Christmas Waltz, 7. What is your number 6?
Next Stop Christmas.
My number 6 is A Kiss Before Christmas. What is your number 5?
The Christmas Waltz.
My number 5 is Hanukkah on Rye. What's your number 4?
Hanukkah on Rye.
My number 4 is Mrs. Miracle. What is your number 3?
Crown for Christmas.
Mine is Fur Crazy. And number 3. What is your number 2?
Christmas Getaway.
Mine is Love at the Thanksgiving Day Parade. The number 2. What is your number 1?
Trading Christmas.
Me too. Oh my gosh. We have the same one.
I mean, it is one of the best Hallmark holiday movies.
It is my favorite. It was my favorite when we started the podcast in 2017, and it still is my favorite to this day. Yeah. So some things never change.
It's been my favorite since it first aired, because I remember sitting down and actually watching that, and I was like, this is great.
It's so good.
You know,
it's so good. So there we go. That is our ranking. Let us know what you would pick for each year and how you would rank them and what you think of our picks. And we would love to hear in the comment section or on Twitter. And Terry, where can people follow you?
I'm at Flurry Heaven on Twitter.
Yes. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. Check that out. Also, make sure you're following the podcast, Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all over social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. That really helps a lot. And if you're listening on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Most of our viewers on YouTube aren't subscribers. So if you're in that camp, please subscribe. It really helps a lot. And we talked about it a ton, but check out the Patreon. It is a chance to really connect with talent and have great experiences. And it's any tier level can, for as low as $2 a month, you can participate in all the activities of the Patreon. So please take a look at that. And then also we have the merch store where we have some new designs, including our I'm a Hallmark Girl shirts and designs inspired by Barbie movie, which I just thought was fun for this year. So please check it out. And thanks so much, everybody. Merry Christmas. Bye.
Merry Christmas. Bye.